Some names in sports are famous. Some are legendary. But then there are a very, very small few who completely changed the game itself. Today, we're talking about one of those revolutionaries, Johan Cruyff, a man who didn't just play football, he basically redesigned it from the ground up.
And this quote, it pretty much tells you everything you need to know about his whole philosophy. For Cruyff, football was never about circus tricks or showing off. It was all about simplicity, about intelligence, and just ruthless efficiency. It was a game you played with your mind first and your feet second.
All right, so first up, let's talk about Cruyff the thinker. Because really, to get his impact, you have to see him as more than just an athlete. He was an architect who saw the football pitch as his own personal canvas.
This idea right here is the frame for his entire approach. He truly believed the most important stuff, the tactics, the positioning, the insight, it all happened between your ears. Your legs, they were just there to carry out your brain's instructions. Now, that was a pretty radical idea at the time, and it laid the foundation for everything that came next.
So let's see how all these ideas actually looked on the field when he was playing. It was at his boyhood club, Ajax, where these kind of abstract concepts became this breathtaking reality, with him leading an orchestra of players in a style the world had literally never seen before.
And that style was called total football. Now, the concept sounds simple, but it is incredibly difficult to pull off. A defender could suddenly pop up as an attacker, a midfielder could drop into defense, all the positions were fluid. It meant every single player had to understand the geometry of the entire pitch. And right there, in the middle of it all, conducting the beautiful chaos, was Cruyff.
So did it work? Yeah, the results speak for themselves. Ajax didn't just win, they completely dominated. 3 straight European Cups, that's the Champions League of its day. This wasn't just a team, it was a dynasty, built on a revolutionary idea that proved that beautiful, intelligent football was also winning football.
His teammate, Barry Hulshoff, he put it perfectly. Cruyff wasn't just the star player, he was the on-field brain, constantly directing traffic, creating space, and literally architecting the game as it was happening.
After conquering all of Europe with Ajax, Cruyff's next move took him to Spain, to a sleeping giant, FC Barcelona. And his arrival there was about so much more than football. It was about reviving the spirit of an entire culture.
Barcelona smashed the world transfer record to sign him, paying around $2 million. I mean, the pressure and the expectations were just immense. But Cruyff, being Cruyff, he absolutely thrived on it.
This quote just sums up his impact perfectly. He led Barcelona to their first league title in 14 years, and that season included a historic 5-0 demolition of their biggest rivals, Real Madrid, in Madrid. For Catalonia, which was living under the Franco dictatorship, that win was this huge, powerful symbol of identity and pride.
And his connection to Catalonia went way beyond the pitch. In a pure act of defiance, he named his son Jordi, a traditional Catalan name that was actually banned at the time. He had to fly his son back to the Netherlands just to get the name registered. With acts like this, he wasn't just a player, he became a hero to the people.
And this combination of off-field defiance and on-field genius is what made him so revered. It was during this time that he gave the world one of its most iconic moves, the Cruyff turn. The beauty of it is its simplicity. It's not flashy just for the sake of it. It's elegant, efficient, and just devastatingly effective. Basically, his entire philosophy in one single move.
Years later, Cruyff would come back to Barcelona, this time as a manager. And look, if his impact as a player was profound, his time as a coach would build the foundation for the club's entire identity for the next 30 years and beyond.
He didn't just manage the first team. No, he went right to the roots of the club, completely restructuring its youth academy, La Masia. He demanded they teach his philosophy at every single age level, making sure there was a pipeline of players who thought about the game the Cruyff way. We're talking about long-term systemic change here.
And the result of all that? Well, they called it the Dream Team for a reason. Just look at this run. 4 La Liga titles in a row, but the absolute crowning achievement was the club's first ever European Cup in 1992. That was the trophy they had been obsessed with for decades. This team just played a breathtaking brand of football that mesmerized the world.
So what were his final, genius, tactical instructions before that historic final at Wembley? Go out and enjoy it. That's it. For him, the pressure of a final was irrelevant. Football was art. It was joy. He believed that if his players just went out and expressed themselves, the result would take care of itself.
So let's bring it all together and really look at the philosophy that has lasted all these years. What is Cruyff's ultimate legacy? It's not just about the trophies or a famous turn. It's an entire school of thought that continues to shape the way modern football is played.
And a great way to understand his philosophy is to compare it to his great rival, another Dutch mastermind, Louis van Gaal. The contrast here is just stark. Van Gaal believed the system was sacred, players served the system. Cruyff, the total opposite. He encouraged individual creativity, intuition, and players who could think for themselves. For him, football was art, not just a system.
And Cruyff himself explained this difference perfectly. He respected Van Gaal's approach, but just fundamentally disagreed with how rigid it was. He didn't want soldiers carrying out orders. He wanted artists expressing themselves inside a framework. And that distinction is absolutely key to understanding his massive influence. He even boiled his beliefs down into 14 rules. You can find them displayed at his Cruyff courts. These are small football pitches for kids all over the world. And rules like dare to try something new and bring beauty to the sport, they show that his philosophy wasn't just about football. It was a guide for life.
Which kind of leads to a final thought. Pelé, Maradona, Messi, Ronaldo. Football has had plenty of kings, right? Players who perfected the game as it was. But Cruyff did something else. He didn't just play the game. He changed the blueprint. He was, and he still is, football's greatest architect.